All right, welcome to the Sens Nation podcast, the Jim K. Ford Sens Nation podcast. And let me ask you this right out of the gate as we get ready to talk about the latest on the Sens, everything going on right now. It's Steve Warren along with Greg Kennedy. Let me ask you this, Greg. Is it too early for Christmas carols? I think the answer is yes. But if the Christmas Carol is also an Ottawa Senators parody song.
Well, I was in the dollar store before Halloween and they were doing the Christmas aisle. So I think you're okay. It's never too early for Christmas.
Isn't that nice?
Where's this? I haven't heard this, folks. I'm first-time listener.
Call me Stevie Buble. Huh? Okay. It's beginning to look a lot like last year. It's beginning to look a lot like last year. Everywhere you look, there's a mess on the Sens back end, coughing up pucks again, with open lanes and don't know where to go. It's beginning to look a lot like last year. Soon the Sens will shine, but the prettiest sight to see is the hockey that will be when the rebuild's done. Oh, that gets you right in the Christmas spirit, right? Huh?
I thought you were going to throw in there. I thought you were going to throw in like Shane Wright is on the horizon in there.
Yeah, well, I said to myself, I'm getting a little bored with the slow pace of this song, but anyway, we're into the holiday season, and it seems like it's beginning to look a lot like last year. Another loss since we last got together. Obviously, it was. I think we can agree a pretty spirited performance in Boston, particularly given the circumstances. Morale's probably not real high, and then you have the COVID effect with 5 players and a coach out of the lineup and in protocol, new bodies in there, line shuffling. So, I mean, a 3-2 loss in Boston, there's no shame in that. Unfortunately, though, it's just another loss at the end of the day.
Yeah, I predicted earlier in the day, I thought either they're going to eke one out because they're going to all band together and get lucky and win a game, or they're going to get absolutely hammered. I never would have thought they'd lose a 1-goal game. You know, you had a Boston Bruins team coming off a loss in Toronto. Their PK was horrible. And they come into Ottawa, and all season long, the Bruins have had brutal second periods, and they come in here and they really had a bad first period, and the Senators just couldn't take advantage of that, and that's what, and the power play couldn't take advantage of that either. They at 1-0, they had 4 opportunities on the power play, including, I wrote this down, Stevie. Look here, they had a 1:39 stretch that was 4-on-3, then 5-on-3, then 5-on-4. All while up 1-0, and they just couldn't find it. And that by the time the first period was over, Bruins got back to their usual physical stuff and just kind of wear them down, and the game was over.
In the 5-on-3, it looked like they'd never practiced it before. To be honest, they took a time out to get ready for it and prepare. And it looked like that may have been the first time they discussed 5-on-3s or something. Because it's interesting because the first. I'd say the first 6 games, the power play was excellent, and all of a sudden, it doesn't seem to have any kind of game plan or flow to it. It's just a lot of perimeter passing, particularly on that 5-on-3. I know Josh Norris bobbled it and lost the zone, but there was a good amount of time in there where they had the 5-on-3, and all they did was really slow perimeter passing. So, yeah, they got to get back to the drawing board on the old power play. This was the winning goal, by the way, and it happened on a unique situation. It was a 4-on-4, and we'll get into the unique part of it, but this was the game-winning goal.
Stick for stick, one busted in each direction. Bergeron scores off a hockey god's bounce. 3-2 Boston.
The hockey god's bounce is right. It basically is a 4-on-4 situation, and somehow the puck goes off a broken stick that's lying on the ice off of Marchand's knee, and he tucks it home for the game-winning goal. I didn't think it was a very strong goal. I think Matt Murray could have challenged it a little more there. He's pretty deep in his net. But what did you think of the game winner there?
Yeah, well, there was one earlier. Didn't Marchand scored a goal off his gut? and then you have this one that
Yeah.
bounces off a stick. And
Yeah.
I looked at it too, Steve, and I had to slow it down and look at it again and again. And but then when I looked at it finally, I decided Murray moving to his left was all sort of after the goal went in. At first glance, it looked like, what the hell is he doing? He was like he was jumping to his left while the puck was going in over to his right. But it was sort of, I think he was trying to get his body to move so he could get his arm up to try to make the save for where it was going on his left side, on the short side. But you can't fault Matt Murray last night. Like a solid game. He did play well. He played well enough for them to win. Unfortunately, they couldn't score, or too many problems up front, and a lack of depth. My God, again, a lack of depth.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And you're right about Matt Murray. I think that one save he made, well, he and Thomas Chabot kind of co-authored the save, but Pasternak is in close with an empty net, and both Murray and Chabot basically get a stick on it. And, well, I'd say that the NHL.com appears to have begun a new department called the Dad Jokes Department, because soon after that save, I got a note from NHL.com. Ottawa goalie Matt Murray does not like gluten because he just denied pasta with the save of the year candidate. I'm like, really?
Sorry,
It's
I
coming
missed
from
that.
NHL.com? My goodness, that's not great. Anyway, something happened though, and I'm always interested to talk coaching with you because there's always these neat innovations that come along, whether they're good or bad, but it's certainly not old school. There's, for example, new school when there's an empty net,
Mm-hmm.
you shoot at it. It doesn't matter if there's an icing situation. Like when I was a kid, I would get buried by my coach if I took a shot at an empty net in the final moments of a game and I missed the net and it's icing back the other way. I mean, even as early as that Canada-Russia World Junior Final, everybody in Canada was burying the Russian kid because he took a shot at the empty net and it ended up going back the other way. But now it's accepted, completely accepted practice that you take that shot, even if you risk icing. You just do it. The numbers say that's the thing to do. Now, here's another one. Josh Norris in the 4-on-4 breaks his stick, and it's the long change, so he's got to go to the far side bench, and he leaves the 4-on-4 D-zone coverage, sprints to the far side, and by the time he's back, the Sens are hooped. Marchand gets the goal you just heard, and that goal ends up being the difference in the hockey game. Are you a fan of this sort of newer way of handling that? Because back in the day, 4-on-4, even if you broke your stick, you don't want to get your team shorthanded, and you don't have a stick, obviously, but you're still out there taking away shooting and passing lanes.
That one threw me for a loop. I get it in other instances where I've seen it. I get it when it's the short change, when your bench is literally right there at the blue line. I understand it if it's not the centerman. I can even understand it when if it's not a defenseman, right? But even with a defenseman, I can hand him a stick as a winger and run off and get one. But in a 4-on-4 situation and a long change second period, it made no sense to me. I was baffled as you were. I saw your tweet and I'm like, what the hell was he thinking?
Yeah.
And there was no comment from the coaching staff. I don't think there was a question asked in the post game, but I'd be interested in knowing, was that Josh Norris's decision, or is that a team sort of staple that this is what we do? And we don't know the answer to that.
When I put it out there on social media, because it was a new one on me, I got a lot of feedback from people who were saying, yeah, the Sens have done that before. It's clearly coached, and they've seen it with other teams around the league. So I don't know, maybe that's the new trend, but I can't say that I've embraced it yet, but I'm sure somebody's done the homework on it, the research to say that you're better off to, I mean, maybe, I don't know, but maybe the idea is the research shows that you're better off to go get a stick and be shorthanded for the 5 seconds that takes than staying out there without a stick.
Well, I agree. I've seen it happen, and I've seen the Sens do it. I'd be interested in knowing how often they've done it in a 4-on-4 in the second period. That's the difference here between other scenarios. So I'd be interested in seeing the numbers on that. And I don't know that you have to find some nerdlinger out there who's done it and wants to look at all the video and figure it out.